It is 7 a.m. and I have pressed the buttons. All right. Let's see what I got today. Oh, the initial, like this would be a good initial elevation. Lots of cubes. What I'm thinking about doing today, I guess, is I need to do some hit testing. So like, it'd be cool if I could like click on a cube and have it become the cube that we're seeing the position of. Have it work where like if there's a cube in front of another one and we click, we actually clicking on the one in front. So how would we go about like doing a hit test with the physics engine? I think that we saw this in here, right? For advanced collision detection, there was like a hit test. Graph, section graph physics hooks. I don't know where I saw it, actually, now that I think about it. The scene query? Raycasting. Okay, here we go. Geometric query that finds one or several colliders intersecting a half line. Defined by its origin and its direction. Interpreted as a single point moving a straight line towards the ray direction. Okay, so we need a query pipeline. And with the query pipeline, we would cast a ray, given a collider set and the ray. Max time TOI. What a TOI? TOI. Can't think of what it is. Solid. I don't know. Filter. And the first scroll bar. I hate it when the scroll bar is like off screen. Time of incident or something. Ah. The hit point is the ray point at TOI. Okay. Cast ray and get normal. Huh. Except that it also returns a pointer, returns a normal of the collision shape at the hit point. That's intersections with ray. A callback for each collider hit. Time of impact. Okay, I said time of incident something. Time of impact. Ray can be seen as a point starting at ray origin, moving at a linear velocity equal to ray direction. Okay. Controls the behavior of the raycast if ray origin is inside of a shape. If solid is true, then the hit point will be ray origin itself because the interior of the shape will be assumed to be filled with material. If solid is false, the shape will be assumed to have an empty interior. Hit point will be the first time the ray hits the shape's boundary. Either way, we're going to hit the shape before it start out inside of it, right? It is possible to only apply the scene query to a subset of the letters using a query filter. I think this is what I want to set up. But one issue is that to determine the ray direction, we know the camera position, but what the ray direction, we have to calculate it in reverse, right? Given a screen position, I have to like go through the perspective and view transforms backwards to get a world position, right? What would that world position would be on the near plane, I guess? Well, it would be somewhere in the view frustum, and then we just subtract the camera origin from it, and we get the ray direction. Yeah, okay, so maybe what I can also do is show in the overlay the clicked position both on the screen and in the world to start with. So if I click and I don't drag, I guess. If I click and release without dragging. All right. First the overlay, let's do that first. So public click position. Screen. This will be the easy part. This will be a warm-up. So here's a vector 2. View size, or whatever units the screen coordinates are usually in. And that's a good question. What coordinates is the screen usually in? I guess it would be whatever the screen configuration uses. Surface configuration. U32, okay. U32. All right, and then option, because until we've clicked, we don't want to actually show anything. Default option is none. Let's do this. Oh, they put a label in front of this. Cube. And we'll have click position next to it. What OS am I using? OS will tell you I'm using Ubuntu on Parallels on a Mac Studio. Click, and by the way, you are the first chatter of the day. You win a prize. Just kidding, no prize. Oh, there is no Z coordinate for clicking on the screen, is there? Oh, and I don't need to use these format precisions, do I? Yeah, there we go. All right. So the overlay's done. Click that, click that, that. These things I don't need to open. I just say close others. All right, and then we're going to go to the app. So when the app handles a click, okay, we can't get the click directly in the app. We go through the window integration layer, right? So, for example, here in winit, we handle a window event, and event might be that there is a mouse input pressed. Right. Can you give some context about what I'm doing? I have another command for that. It's called project or today. I'm just learning various libraries. Among them are wgpu, GPU. Why am I not? I should be running my program, right? To show you what I'm doing. Oh, I don't have that command. Hold on, hold on. I'm not set up for this. Target. Release. There we go. Explosion of cubes incoming. There we go. So we're using wgpu to draw graphics, and I just have like a rectangular green platform and some colorful cubes so far. Up in the top part of the window, we're using egui to draw this immediate mode UI. So that's what I was just adding to a little bit ago, adding a row to show what I've clicked on. So I haven't I haven't connected it completely, so it's not showing up here, but we're storing stuff like FPS and the render time and some controls, like I control the camera if I want to through that, or I can control it by clicking and dragging in the field. And then finally, for the physics engine to make those cubes explode and all that, we're using rapier. Would be the reason for a mutable function by Dyn. I guess we saw that back in main, or well, that's one place to put it. Like, or do we see it in app in redraw, or not the inner redraw, but where do we see it? Redraw factory? I mean, like mutable function by Dyn. So they mean different things. So, for example, this means I think 4 different things. Okay. First of all, this is a function that's returning something on the heap, and that something implements some interface that's abstract. And that interface that's abstract is the thing can be called as a function that returns a duration, and the state of the function is mutable. So it's allowed to change itself. That's what all that means. The reason why I'm returning something on the heap which implements an abstract interface, which is a function that can change itself that returns a duration, is we need to be able to take this object and give it back to the main program, even though the main program hold on a sec. Am I an app? I'm a little bit confused because it's too early in the morning for me, I guess. Oh, right. We need to be able to take a we need to be able to construct a function that we give to the event loop, and the event loop can't know anything about app because we're using dependency injection. So we don't want to couple the Windows event loop directly to the app. So instead, we tell the app, "Hey, could you just spit out some functions, which the functions internally know about the app, and they know how to do like redraw the app or resize the app, right? But the function itself doesn't have any tie to app, so we've kind of severed the dependent, like the user of this function doesn't need to have the app or know about the app. We can pass it back to event loop, and event loop can work with any redraw and resize functions. Doesn't need to know about the app. Why is a box Dyn function and not just f or f? Because then if I did it that way, then I'd have to the event loop would have to be generic on the app type, right? And so then I'd have to construct what is it? I think it had to do with the fact that I have 2 implementations of abstract window through a trait, and the reason I have that is because at the very top level in main, you can choose between a W init and a full tick, and maybe even an SDL backend in some future date at runtime through your command line arguments. So the concrete object that we construct might be a W init window, or it might be a full tick window. So and the event loop is called through that abstract interface, and I think when you have an abstract trait, you can't or maybe this was just for convenience. I think I just did this for convenience. That yeah, that I wanted to box up onto the heap and not have to specify, sort of erase the type of the redraw and resize functions. I'm trying to think. I was trying to think maybe there was another reason that had to do with the fact that it was a trait, but maybe there wasn't. So it could be that I could just use what is it, monomorph? Can't remember the term, where we don't use the dying keyword, and this is just generic on some. It would be 1, 2 types, right? Actually, 3. At least, right? But this kind of makes it cleaner. The trait is not generic at all. It just works with erased types. Downside is that the type coupling is not as strong. So I could have bugs, right, that have to do with type mismatches or other type issues. Yeah, I don't think I answered that adequately. But to tell you the truth, I don't remember exactly what was going through my head when I first started this. Maybe if I watched the stream from 2 weeks ago, I'd remember why is it that I decided to do that rather than make it generic. But probably what it was is I ran into something complicated with making a generic type, and I couldn't figure it out. And I said, screw it, we'll just make these function objects generated by factory and separate it through an interface. Whenever you see the dying keyword, it's abstract interface. Then you have stuff on the heap, and I guess you lose a few nanoseconds of perf. Probably. Why do I care about nanoseconds, though? I'm operating at 2 orders of magnitude slower than that anyway, with my render time. So if it takes me 7 milliseconds to render, then adding a nanosecond is 1 millionth of my render time. So 1 millionth, I don't care about. Maybe if our render time was in the nanoseconds itself, then sure, then we'd care. So I guess this goes to one of my core mottos these days. So the order of operations for me in any kind of software development is first make it work. Then after I make it work, then I make it right. Then once I make it work and it's right, then I make it fast. So making it work, just get the problem solved. It doesn't have to look nice. You can hack it. Once I get the problem solved, it's full of hacks. Then I go back and refactor to make it look right or make it implemented correctly, right? Then once it works and it looks good and if it's too slow, then I make it fast. If when I make it work, it looks pretty good and it's fast enough, I don't even do steps 2 or 3. If I do step 2 and 1 and 2 and it's fast enough, I don't bother doing step 3. There's too much to do in this one life we have for me to go fret about every little nanosecond. Also, it goes onto a VTable or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It would only matter if it was really slow and I did some performance measurements and I saw, well, gosh darn it, I'm doing so many VTable lookups that I really gotta get rid of that abstraction. Just wanted to know if there's a real reason. That is the real reason. I'm giving you the mindset I approach with it. That it was easier to hold in my brain the concept of how to connect the event loop to my app's closures. The closures, the functions need to be called a lot, the redraw and resize. It was easier for me to hold it in my brain as these are function objects generated on demand from the app and given to the event loop. It was easier to think of it that way, even if in the end maybe it's a few nanoseconds slower. I can at least understand it, and therefore I can more easily make it work, and I can also read it back and understand what I did. So it's both it works and it's done right. So my definition of making it right usually is that a year from now I can come back and look at my code and not spend too much time figuring out what I was doing, because the computer doesn't care if you hack it together, but humans care because something that's hacked is harder to understand. Yeah, no problem. I like the challenge of sort of driving my thought process and maybe justifying some of the things I do because it's healthy to question oneself, right? I might stop one day and say, I really do care about performance more than I thought I did. So maybe I change the order in which I do things. And while I make things right, I also try to make it fast. Or maybe that 1, 2, 3 order is different on some embedded project where I have a, a much more demanding resource cap, right? Like I really don't have a whole lot of nanoseconds to spend on this. A nanosecond is actually a millisecond because the processor's slower. Then maybe my priorities change a bit. Okay, the clicking happens here. Right now we're already using clicking. This is a lot of indentation. Can I clean this up a little bit? I think I should. That function is getting long. Let me mark it for refactoring, I guess. I even put a blank line here, so it kind of tells me that probably want to refactor this to do, but not right now. I'm like marking something for step 2, right? Making it right. Needs refactoring. Okay, so if we're already using pressed and what does this mean? Positions. Oh, this is if we know what position we pressed. Because with the press event, we don't actually get coordinates. We get coordinates when we get a different one. Where is it? That's pressed, released, mouse wheel. Cursor moved, right? Cursor moved, we get a position. So the mouse will move to some position and then a press will happen. Press doesn't tell us the position, so I had to cache it. Right, so we just assume we're dragging, right? Why don't I just store the position here too? Self dot click or info overlay. Oh, right, we don't have a direct access to the app. I have to actually send it. Since I'm already sending drag start, what if I just include the coordinates that we pressed here with drag start? Drag start gets position. Position. Then here I have access to the info overlay, right? Click position screen. Equals position. Probably have to adapt the types. So going from an option view 32s to a vector 2 of, to an optional 2-dimensional. It's hard to read this because algebra makes every vector a matrix, but it's something by one matrix. So we're going to an option vector 2 u32 from a reference to a vector 2 of f64s. That really a difference? Okay, so then some position gets us closer to the right type, right? Okay, we got to go from u32 to f64. This would be a good place to add a convenience utility. Have this upcast from f32 to f64. That's a vector 3. I think I'll just do this by hand. So be some vector 2, 2, position dot x as 32 position dot y as u30. Going to complain about possible truncation, which we'll allow. Can I put that there? Can I put it there? Yeah, no. Sign loss. So we're going to allow the sign loss as well. Eagle Beagle, how are you doing? wgpu is how we're drawing all these graphics. Cube explosion. Egui is how we're drawing this layer on top. The whole thing is in W init. And the physics is done by Rapier. That's 4 different libraries, and there are several integration layers between them. Some of which are done by other libraries, and some of which I'm doing myself. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Just playing around with these libraries. WebGPU is on your bucket list too? I found it pretty approachable. I have enjoyed using this tutorial. Find it. It's here somewhere. Here it is. Learn GPU. Of course, this is from a Rust perspective, right? Rust implementation of WebGPU. So if you're not using Rust, you probably want something else. But you know, I'm biased towards Rust, so I think it's cool. Right. So the click. So if I click over here, the x coordinate's low, and I click way over here, it's high, and the y should be high down here. If I click up here, nothing happens because that's actually being eaten by the the egui overlay. All right. Next, the idea is if I click on the cube, I need to do a hit test to see what I hit, and we're going to use Rapier to do that using a raycast in a query pipeline. So we need to make a query pipeline, right? So after we step a physics pipeline, we update a query pipeline. A dedicated page for it. That's where we just were. So I'm assuming that you can just make one and then we'd update, okay, like they say. So let's see about that. So let's go to where I have the physics stuff. Physics world. Yeah, I don't have a query pipeline. Let's add one. Uh-oh. Our cat has been bad again. She's being a brat. Our cat is a brat. Query pipeline is not the right class currently. Oh, because I didn't spell it right. Query pipeline, not query pipeline. All right, the default is to take it from the prelude, which I don't like. So what is the actual library it's from? Module, I mean. Query pipeline from the module pipeline. The magic of the auto formatter. We can now read that. Okay. Query pipeline new. Uh-oh. The cat's terrorizing my son over there. He's going behind the monitor. Says she wants to play. She wants to play, so she's like striking out at him from behind the monitor. So she thinks you're playing with her when you do that. See, I laugh now, but soon I'll have a cat attacking me. Okay, we have pipeline. They said that after we step, we want to update the query pipeline, right? Update. Okay, bodies is self.physicsworld.bodies and colliders self.world physicsworld colliders. Easy peasy. Khajiit has wares. Yeah, exactly. Hey there, dude, man. How you doing? More like Khajiit has sharp claws. We'll shred your face if get close enough. Wow, she just like leaped 20 feet horizontally across from one spot in the room to the other. I should be worried. Okay, we have a query pipeline and we're updating it. Now what? Go back. Where was it again? Around here. Or was it? Maybe it was forward in scene queries. Ah, here it was. Raycasting. Yes, 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 yes. So I have to make a ray based off of camera position and a vector from that to where I clicked on the screen. Uh, okay, it wants a max. Can I just set that to infinity? Anyway, we're gonna do cast ray. Handle message. Drag start, right? Oh, I forgot to pick a spot for where we're gonna put the results. That we should put in the overlay, right? So that would be in parentheses here. Let's make this a more complicated structure. So we'll have a vector 2 and it will also have something else. So struct, it has to be public actually. Struct click position. Pub screen that, and then pub world is a 3-dimensional vector with F32s in it, I guess. 64s. To can't remember the matrices I use for view and perspective. What position are they? I would find that actually I'm doing that sort of in a bad spot now. I'm doing it here in the render. I need to move it out of there. 64-bit is the answer. Yeah, I'm gonna need to gonna need to calculate these once and pass them into the render because I'm gonna need them outside now for when we click. And also, it doesn't really make sense to do that every time we do a render of a subject of a bunch of model instances. Doesn't really make sense. Anyway, let's make this an optional click position. Then this is a screen X and screen Y. And I'm not going to need that much precision, so on the world, we'll just do 2 digits of precision. World.x, and then Y and Z. Okay, back here, just the screen part. World is something else. I already forgot what I named it. Click position. Okay. Make sure I get this working. Let's just make a vector 3. They have a default? Okay, they do. Forward that, sure. Okay, let's see what. So when I. Nope. No, I have an error. Error. Right. Not copy anymore, so we need to pull out a reference. Copy before, so we didn't have to do that. Probably should have done that anyway. Okay, so that's how it's gonna look. Now I gotta, well, I guess for now I can hack it and take that same code from the renderer and pull it out. And then reverse it, right? So that's this junk. And we'll just hack it into the app here. Right? Paste it there. Ugh, ugly. Ugly, ugly. So the look Y we know as self dot info overlay dot camera look azimuth. Yes. This is self dot info overlay dot look elevation. I think. Let's find all the references to it and make sure that's in draw. Yeah. So that's that's the single source of truth for that. Okay. Just making sure. Import that. Screen descriptor. We have one of those, right? We're calling it surface config. I think. Oh wait, no. Screen descriptor I think is constructed from a surface config. Make screen descriptor. Yeah, but I could just use its width and height directly. I don't actually need to do that. So this could be self.surfaceconfig.width. And this is self.surfaceconfig height. I'm back. Hey there, Meridium. I am back. FOV. Where am I storing that? Info overlay.fov. Right. And perspective 3 comes from algebra. Okay. I got the view and the perspective transforms, right? In fact, I can do what the renderer does and multiply them together. Let's go find that. Compose view, I can do that as well. So that will go from a world coordinate to a screen coordinate. Problem is, I have a screen coordinate, I need to go back to the world. So I need to invert this. Fortunately, there's a way to do that. Well, this is just a hack, so I'm not going to bother with a comment. So let world to screen, screen to world. So that dot invert. Try inverse. It should be invertible, otherwise we're screwed. So we'll just do. Actually, we can make it optional. We can say if we can't invert it, then we can't. There's some reason we can't get a world coordinate. We just won't put a click position. If let sum screen to world equal try to invert the matrix, then we can do this stuff. Else, we'll just clear this. I think. I don't think it'll ever get into this else. So I could probably just unwrap this. But, you know, who knows? Maybe I get this wrong. We have too many lines. Yeah, because we're hacking. We turn off the big yellow hazard sign. Allow, and put a to-do here. All right. Okay. So if we get some screen to world, then that is there. And that goes away. Oh, hold on. No. The world equals screen to world times our screen position. So some vector 4 new. Okay, coordinates are position.x as f64. Then again, okay, z, it doesn't really matter. I can pick anything, but I want to pick something in front of the camera. So if z is negative coming at us, then let's pick a positive 1. And w is the perspective, so you're supposed to set that to 1 as well, right? Or is it set to 0? It's like 1 for a vector and 0 for a position, right? I can't remember. We'll see what happens. So we'll just do that and see what we get. Do I have it backwards? It's that times. Is it the vector times the matrix? No. It's correct, but I need to what's the word again? From. It's in homogeneous coordinates. I need to do the inverse of this. What's the inverse of to homogeneous? From homogeneous? I need to take it out of projective space. Okay, it's from. That's what I want. Basically get rid of the w coordinate. And why is it not like this? Oh, I think I need to do like vector 3 from homogeneous and then put world in there. Okay, what's wrong here? It's still an option? Why is this return an option? Returns none if the last component is not 0. I guess from homogeneous is not correct then? Or maybe it should be 0 and to start with then. Then I would, this should always work. Okay, it's got some warnings, but let's see what happens. So if I did this right, then I'll get a screen coordinate, I'll get a world coordinate for where I click on the screen. Then I can get a ray and I can do the raycast. And it crashed the moment I clicked. What did I get? Unwrap. Right here. Okay, so it's not 0. So this might not be the right method to call. I just need to divide by the w coordinate, don't I? I don't know what the name is in algebra, so I'll just do it by hand. New. This would be like world x divided by world dot w, world dot y divided by world dot w, and world dot z divided by world W. I think I do want a 1 there. Not too sure about that though. Click somewhere. Oh, it didn't crash. But those coordinates look really wrong to me. Looking straight down. Click somewhere. Yeah, those numbers look really wrong to me. Oh, you know what? I forgot to scale the screen coordinates. They have to be scaled to -1 to +1, and I'm not doing that at all. Probably why we're getting numbers that are really crazy. So I can't just convert them to floats. I need to like divide by the width here. So that divided by, well, it's a little bit more complicated. I have to subtract the midpoint and then divide by the width and then multiply by 2. Self dot surface config dot width as f4, but then gotta multiply by 2 and subtract 1 at the end. Right? Clumsy. I'll probably write this better. But times 2 divided by the width will be I don't need to multiply by 2, do I? If I just divide by the surface width, I'll get a number from 0 to width, I'll get it from 0 to 1. Multiply by 2, I get from 0 to 2. Subtracting 1, I get from -1 to +1. So that is right. I think. And that same thing, only I use height here. Alright, let's see what that gives me. Put that down there and we might be getting somewhere. That might be correct. So if I click over here, it's x is negative around -19, z is near 0. So that's correct, right? If I click over here, I should get +19. Over here, I should get a x near 0 and a y of z of negative. That's correct, yeah. Y is -50 because that's where the far plane is. That's good, right? Because then I can say I only really care about time of impact of 0 to 1, right? Well, it'll go to 9. Why is it 50 and not 100? Did I do 0 instead of 1 for the z coordinate? Did a 1. What happens if I put a 0 here? I'm just curious. Does it crash? Because I can never remember for what is the initial w coordinate for a point. I don't think it matters. Oh, it does matter. I'm getting like crazy numbers. Yeah, my numbers don't work out here. They're all crazy. Okay, so that does need to be a 1. Rasta Fui, that when you have two things, something might be. It might be a 0 or a 1. Why not try it one way, then try it the other way? And if one way crashes and the other way doesn't, you got your answer. You didn't even need to know any deeper than that. Am I on holiday? I was streaming a lot yesterday because it was the weekend and I was bored. But no, I'm not on holiday. I have set my schedule up now so I stream before work for about 2 hours. So I have another hour and a little bit more before I got to end the stream and work. So I am working, just streaming before work and on the weekend. So it is a 1. I thought that for points, it's like for points, the w coordinate is supposed to be 0, and for vectors, it's supposed to be 1. But I guess the problem is when you do a coordinate transformation with perspective, I guess you need to have a vector. not a point. So you do need to have a 1 there. Yeah, because I have to divide it back out, right? It wouldn't make sense if it was 0. I'd be dividing by 0. Yeah, okay, so I convinced myself that that's correct. I should clean this up, though. Casting U32 to F64 may be silently lossy. It will be lossy. I'm fine with that. So I'm going to mark that I'm fine with that by allowing that. And what's the other problem? It's unnecessary. That already is an F64. It already is an F64. Good catch. That and that go 2 words over, delete. All right. So the final thing then is once we get a world coordinate, I was gonna say do a raycast and see if we hit something in the scene. But then like, what if we don't hit something in the scene? Do I set the position to none? Or maybe what I do is in this click position thing, I actually put something else here. What would I want to know? Hit something? I would do it this way. I don't really care what the idea of the thing is we hit, but we can make the world thing optional and only have a world coordinate if we hit something, right? Then I can change this down here. So what's in the label depends on if we have a world coordinate or not, right? So let's first let the text equal, and then if let some world equal position.world else. And I can actually concatenate, right? I can do part of this first. Plus, it's gonna look too gross. It'd probably look better if I made this mutable and then ended that there. And I say if we have a world position, then we're going to add more to this. Well, grab it from here. Then text plus equals. So eliminate this part. Eliminate that part at the screen, and then position dot goes away. And then this just becomes text. Okay, I guess I have to borrow temporary. Okay. Then back in here, I see what I can do. I can move this out then. And I can just say let world equal that. And then instead of doing an if let sum, I would do this dot map. Try inverse dot map world to this. Screen to world in this scope. Where did I put it? Oh, I deleted it. Oops. How could I? Oh, no, it's This is not world, it's screen to world. Okay, so we invert the view perspective transform, and if we're able to, then we take it and we project the screen position to a world position. Turning the result of a let block from a block. Say what? Oh, they're just saying I could. Right, but what I wanted to do with this was do the raycast. Okay, let's just see that. Make sure that that still works. I want to do the raycast, and if it actually hits something, then we return that position. Otherwise, it's still none because we didn't hit anything. All right, looks good. So let's do the raycast. So that's back here, right? So we do query pipeline cast ray. Well, first we make a ray. Let ray equal ray from rapier Perry query. Where is it really from? Geometry. Why didn't it say so? Perry query. I'm like, what the heck? What's Perry? Rapier. Here we go. So that's geometry. Is it not from geometry? No, because we have another error. That's why. So the origin is our camera position. Ah, where did I put that? Is that also in the render? Oh, it's here. It's built into this view transform right here, right? Yeah. Well, I could just get it by transforming the point 0, 0 minus 1 back to the camera, right? Yeah, why don't I just do that? That's easier. So that would be this. I'll have to clean this up because I'm gonna have to. This is gonna look ugly. Oh, apologies. This camera and this position is 0, 0, 0, 0, -1. Actually, is it 0, 0, -1? That's the near plane, right? But the camera's not exactly there. I don't think this is going to give me the right spot. I need to actually get the camera position in the world. Yeah, I'm not going to do it this way. This is hacky anyway. I need to reason how to get the camera position from just the view transform. Isn't it just 0, 0, 0, 1 and then multiply by the inverse of view transform? So I have to reverse that too. I'm gonna say that we can always invert that. Tim, how are you doing, Tim? Thanks for the raid. I assume that you have to go do something, so thank you for the raid. I hope you had a good stream. Hello, turtles. I'm in the middle of playing around with graphics. I have a little virtual world here with a little cube I can kick around. Look at that. I can zoom in and look at it. Kick it around a little bit more. Get high in the air and it lands on the ground. So I have integrated here a physics engine, a graphics library, and a little user interface overlay. So those are all three different libraries. And project, is today linked to project? No, today has those commands if you want to learn more about some of those libraries. But today I'm doing a hit testing. So if I click a position on the screen, I want to get what position I'm actually clicking on in the world. I'm showing the position on the far plane, but what I want to do is like do an actual raycast in the scene and see what if I'm hitting the object. Like if I click out here, I don't hit anything. If I click here, I hit this green platform. If I click here, I hit that cube. But this is what I worked on yesterday, cube explosion, where I can track any number of instances of the cube and also delete them when they reach a y coordinate of negative 100. They cease to exist. So yeah, today it's hit testing. Need to grab food, but lost brain capabilities for unexplicable reasons. It happens. Who knows why? Maybe you just need food. So hopefully you enjoy your, I guess it would be your lunch at this point, right? Have a good time. Yeah, my ground does disappear when I look at it from underneath. So I'm trying to say, if I click a point on the screen, where is it in the world? And the physics engine has this handy raycasting query pipeline raycast ray. It needs me to define the ray in space, though, in world space. So I know where I'm clicking on the far plane because I can go from a screen coordinate to a world coordinate using the inverse of my view perspective projection matrices, right? If that didn't make sense, that's because I'm using terminology from both linear algebra and the concept of coordinate transformations. Anyway, I can translate screen coordinates to world coordinates for what we're looking at. What I'm trying to figure out now is where in the world my camera is, and that's at the point you rated me. I was trying to remember, like, the camera is actually moving around in the scene as I rotate, right? If we're looking at straight down, the camera is at 0, 50, 0, I think. So x0, y plus 50, y z0. If I rotate all the way down, now that we're at a y of negative 50, if we're looking at it edge on, then the camera is at a y coordinate of 0, right? But then the z is negative 50. So it's like we're on an imaginary sphere that surrounds this platform. And the point of the sphere that we're at depends on our view angle. So if we're at an elevation of 0, we're at the equator. We're at an elevation of 90, we're at the North Pole. Elevation negative 90, we're at the South Pole, right? So the way I've been like managing angles on a sphere inside the program is with rotation angles in with quaternions. So constructing the view transform was taking like the camera's like rotation around the poles, so that's azimuth, and making a quaternion from the this is the pole, like the y-axis, an angle around the y-axis of that the angle, azimuth angle, and then multiplying by the elevation is a spin around the x-axis of a certain angle, and then moving it 50 units out after rotating it. So if I'm right, I can just take that matrix and invert it, and then what it'll do is it'll tell me where in the world the camera is. But I'm not too sure if I got that right. So hey, you know what I'm going to do? We'll test the theory by actually showing it on screen where the camera is, right? So here's how I show stuff on the screen in that overlay. This is that egui stuff, right? So when it says like the render time, it's actually because we're telling the egui we want a label inside of a horizontal flow, and that label has this text in it with this font, and then make it bold, so that literally shows that on the screen. So if to add a row here, all I really need to do is just add another horizontal with some labels in it. So that's what we're going to do. The information that it can reach into is this struct, so we'll just add it here. Pub camera position is a vector in 3D space, 64-bit. Let's make that an option, just so that like until we set it, we won't show anything. And then fill that field. I can just say none here. And then down here, we'll just say, kind of like how we did it with cube position. So I'll just literally copy what I did for cube position, and I'll say, if we have some camera position, then we'll say where the camera is, right? So back here, let me just fix this so that we won't do this part yet. What I really want to do is play around with the camera position. So, right, it was the same idea of we'll invert the view. Let camera. Well, we can actually just store this directly in self.info overlay.camera position equals, and then we'll take the view transform, try to invert it, and then map. This should be a camera to world or view to world. Right? The view transform goes from what to what? View to world to view. So we want to go from view to world. Yeah, I think this is right. Although I'm having a hard time visualizing it. So I think I just want an origin 0, 0, 0, and map that from the view back to the world, and that should tell me the coordinates. So something like what I was doing here. In fact, we'll even copy the warning suppression out of there, paste that, and if we take view to world and we multiply by all zeros, 0 dot, 0 dot, 0 dot, and then put a 1 in the W coordinate, multiply by that matrix, and then divide out the. Actually, there won't be any perspective coordinate. That should stay at a 1, right? That should give me the camera position if I did it right. Let's see what I get. See if it totally crashes. Okay, so it says our camera position's there. That looks maybe okay to me. Let's rotate the camera up. Oh, it's only if I click. Okay, let's put it at 90 at the North Pole. Okay, actually, that's actually what I said it should be, right? Only 50. That's a long way away. Did I really put the camera 50 units away? I did. I did put it 50 units away, which makes sense why the far plane is at negative 50, because it's going to be 100 units away, right? So if I put it at the South Pole, it should be negative 50. It is. So I put it at the equator. It's near 0, and the z coordinate's at 50. If I move around to the side, this should move it to the x. Yep. And continue to move it around. This should be back at positive y. Positive. We're at negative z now. Oh, that's right. Negative z is in the scene. If I go the other way, we'll be at positive x. Yep. And then back to negative z. Cool. So I think it's correct. So then the next step would be cast a ray from the camera position to this click position, and then see if we hit anything. I think that's what I want to do. All right. I'm going to say that we can always invert the view transform. So I'm going to reduce that to get rid of that one warning. And I'm going to unwrap at the end. And just say let camera equal that. We'll let the overlay know about it. Since the overlay doesn't always have a value, we have to wrap it with some. But this is going to be a matrix F64 const 3 const 1 means of is the long-winded way of saying a vector 3 of F64s. Can we do all that? I'm going to also say that we'll always be able to reverse the view perspective transform. But anyway, here's the part where we need to do the raycast, right? So let ray equal ray new. Trying to let the autocomplete help me out here. The origin is camera. Oh, it has to be an O point though. O point. O point. We'll see if it can convert it for me. And then the direction is a vector. It's just point. So I need to go from vector to point. Probably a way to convert that. Can I just say as point? Or dot point? Nope. We'll probably have to convert it by hand. And the direction is going to be camera, world minus camera. Yeah, okay, we have two problems. We need to go from vector to point. The other problem is, I think it's between 32 and 64-bit. So let's fix this one first. Let camera equal point 3. Can I do a from a vector? That would be really nice if I could. Oh, I can. Nice. Okay, so then the problem is that it needs to downcast it to 32-bit. And can I make a utility to do that? I had a utility to do upcast. Can I make a downcast? That would be really convenient. Downcast to vector 332. So then let's to implement for 32 to 32 is just return self, right? And then I would just implement this for 64-bit vectors like so. Command dot fill in missing members. So here upcast is a self, and then the downcast is like the inverse of this upcast from the other way. So just copy paste there, and these F64 froms need to go away. Get rid of the parentheses, and let's do as F32. I think that'll work. And then from tuple with 32-bit angles, it's just that, right? Only these all need to be downcast. Oh, the other way, upcast. So upcast, nicer to do. Oh, nicer to do F64 from. Okay, and then app. See if that fixes things. I have to do a downcast. Didn't like it. Why didn't it like my downcast? Oh, I have to do it before. I have to do it in here. Okay, and then now the problem is, oh shoot. So I can't convert it to what? Let's call this camera point. Because to subtract point from a vector would be a problem. Okay, so then this just needs to be downcast. So this is another vector downcast. So I'm glad I made that downcast utility. So then I get a ray, and then the next thing it said was to cast that ray using the query pipeline. So, and I get back a so if I might get a handle and a time of impact of it. So if I don't know, I don't want to do an if let. I actually want to return it back out instead of doing a map. I want to do an and then, because I might get an option out of here, right? Yes. So but then I'm gonna want to map from it gives me handle and a TOI. Map from handle TOI to something. I think what I want to do is I'm going to map actually let's not do it in here, it's more complicated. Do it inside here. So it would be self.physicsworld.querypipeline.castRay self.physicsworld.bodies. Scrolling off the end so I can't see it. Okay, needs colliders next. Self.physicsworld.colliders. Next, it wants the ray. We have the ray. Max TOI. So it's already going from negative 50 to 50 away. So we can just put 1 there. Solid is going to be, I was reading about that. It's if we start inside of something, do we want to stop immediately? Let's say false, true. And then filter is, that's, I can put none there, right? So I'll just start with what they have. Oh no, there's a, I need to make a query filter default. Let's say cast equal that. This is query filter default. Borrow the ray. Cool, so I got an option collider handle F32, right? So I'm gonna want to map that. Map handle and TOI. To, I don't really care about the handle right now. It's the time of impact. We want to take the time of impact, and the way I read is that you take the ray and you multiply it by TOI, and then that gives you the distance from the camera to where we hit. So let hit equal, I really want to get this vector first, right? So let direction equal that. And that's the direction. So then this hit is the direction times, well, it's camera point plus direction times time of impact, right? And then that is a point in space and F32. So then take off the semicolon, remove that. So this is now hit. That's an optional point. So then I don't even need to assign it anything. We just do that. But it's a type is wrong, so I need to map it back into, yep, I need to map it again. Map hit to it needed to be a vector 3, right? What is this click position again? Vector 3 F64s. So vector 3 new. Actually, can we do a vector 3 from a point and then upcast it? Without the without that. Almost. Problem is type mismatch resolving between 3D vector and a 4D. Hold on, map, a hit is a 3D. Why can't I go from a 3D point to a 3D vector? Up karst? Pirate dialect. Yeah, up karst. Karst you matey. Type mismatch resolving const 3 out. Required by a bound on a call? I think it might be the upcast that's tripping me up. So if I just do that, what do I get? Still get that. So maybe the vector 3 from. What if we just do with vector 3 new hit.x, hit.y, hit.z? Yeah, so the vector 3 from was getting confused. This works, right? I don't need the handle anymore. Let's see if this all works. Let's just try it out. Very functional oriented. Okay, it thinks I'm hitting something when I click there. That's wrong. What am I hitting there anyway? Okay, there's something wrong because, yeah, thinks I'm hitting stuff when I'm. You know, this is right. When I click out into space, I'm not hitting anything. When I hit here, I'm hitting the ground. When it hits -2, that means I'm hitting the ground somewhere. But I should be hitting the ground everywhere here, right? When I click here, I should hit the ground, but I'm not hitting it. Why is that? Okay, here I should not be hitting the ground, but I am hitting it. So something's wrong in my math here. You look like you were born in 1980. Oh, thank you, I guess. I guess you haven't looked at my about screen. I've been coding since 1980. So if I look like I was born in 1980, then that would mean that I've been coding since I was born, which I guess any way you look at that is a compliment. So I appreciate it. I click on the cube. Yeah, it's not hitting the cube. So my coordinates are all messed up. Need some debugging, I think. The 80s were fun in hindsight. I barely remember them. My memory doesn't reach back that far. Oh, I hit the cube if I click around here somewhere. Oh, now I'm not finding it. Okay, so camera, we're still recording that, right? Yes. I guess I should debug some stuff. Like, what if we just print out some stuff while we're doing this hit test? So we'll just say, oh, camera is this. Direction is this. If we hit, we can just say what the. Yeah, we'll print out some stuff here. DOI. What else? Probably good enough because if we get to this point, this is what we're already reporting on the screen anyway. Do we get that for that? Hey there, Toulouse. You also barely remember them for a different reason. Hey there, Meridium. How am I? I'm okay. I streamed yesterday quite a lot, and I kind of got burned out in the morning. I forgot how hard it is to stream when you're hungry and you've been working for 3 or 4 hours. Also, like when I'm streaming, I'm not sitting up as much. I haven't tested this out, but I do have a standing desk, and I could hit the button to have it go up, but I'd rather test that before I'm live on camera. Ooh, it printed out something nice. What did it print out? It printed out. It pretty printed it. Cool. So camera's at 0050. That's not right. Okay, so the camera angle's wrong. Well, now the camera angle, I don't know if that's right. Maybe it is right. I put it all the way up to the North Pole and click. That looks right to me. Like near 0, 50, and then very near 0. Direction should be straight down, which it is. Time of impact, that makes sense to me. So why am I not hitting something like if I click here? Or if I tilt the camera, really. If I tilt the camera and click here, why am I not hitting anything? Camera is 0.2543. Let me reason about that. So we're 25 units up and 43 units out at a 30-degree tilt. That doesn't sound right. No, that does sound right. A 45 would be like Y and Z would be around the same. Yeah, 35. So 0, 35, 35 at a 45-degree angle. The direction is down and forward. But we're still not hitting anything. Why not? I said to go to 1, which would be this times 1. So that should pass through the ground. This in that direction should hit the ground. Actually, that direction is really, yeah. That looks right to me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Is the ground maybe not scaled right? No, if it wasn't scaled right, then the cube would fall if it was over here, and I haven't seen that happen. Like if I do that, the cubes definitely stay on the edge here, right? So at least to the physics engine's point of view, there's something underneath these cubes. So how come though when I click, it, not until I click up here do I hit the ground. Right there, I'm not hitting the ground. Why is that? If I hit, I guess I can try to find where the edge is to the hit test. What's the time impact? 0.5. Got something wrong. Too bad you can't use channel points to make me stand. Yeah, sorry. Dealing with cables and everything when the desk goes up, good for offline. Yeah, I know. It probably would work. I just haven't pressed that button in a couple weeks, so I don't know what would happen. It's around here. It's almost like maybe maybe I have the wrong scaling factor on the screen to view or something. How about up here? No, actually, it actually thinks everything is shifted. So it thinks the ground starts, the horizon is right here. It's like everything is shifted, right? Yeah, there's like a shift. There's like a shift in the screen. And it's about, it thinks it's like starts here and ends down here-ish. So this whole thing shifted up to there for some reason. Why would that be? Camera at 90 degrees. we're good, right? Click off the edge, there's nothing. Click on the edge, it's this presence of this up here that I care about, right? So off the edge, nothing. On the edge, I see something. Over here, the edge, that edge is correct. This edge is correct, I think. Hard to see. Could it be the FOV? No, that's correct. Close in. Oh, wait, we already see some inaccuracy. If I click here, it's saying I'm hitting the ground, or I'm hitting a cube or something. Yeah, there's some shift, even though we're at 90 degrees. Why would that be? I don't think this 0.3 matters. It shouldn't be 0.3. What if I set this to exactly 0? Why does it say z is negative 0.3? It shouldn't be. It should be exactly 0. Maybe that's the bug. I'm calculating the camera position wrong somehow. Okay, now it's exactly 0. So it was like not exactly at 90. Still though, we shouldn't hit anything right there. Like hitting. It's hitting at z of 1.5 even though I clicked like at a y coordinate of 251. What's down here? So it's 600 pixels tall. So 251 is definitely like above the midpoint. So what's the ray direction for that? The ray direction is left, almost straight down, and a little bit back. 2.5 would be. No, that's forward. Why is it Why is it pointing forward, not back? Where's the point at which it actually points forward? Right around there. Oh, I turned the camera. I want it to be precisely 0 and precisely 90. And then click. So, move this. Okay, that is correct. That's the middle. Right there. Oh, I think I might have the z-axis flipped. I think the z-axis is flipped. Problem. The physics world actually flipped the z-axis. Is it left-handed and not right-handed? Yeah, this should be negative. As I click higher up, it should be negative because we're shooting in further down, further forward. So if I like shoot this down, this should have that number is what again? That's the direction. Yeah. How do I say this? If I click higher on the screen, the z direction should be more negative, but it's less. And then I click over here, it's more negative. That's not right. Like backwards. Why with just a slight tilt, the z-axis gets really big? When I go, doesn't look right. I think I know what the problem is. My ray is wrong. It shouldn't go from the camera to the spot I click. It should be going from the near plane to the spot I click, right? It should it's straight through the projection. So I got to draw a line from the near plane to the it's from the near plane to the far plane, not from the camera to the um, far plane. Yeah, okay. I did it wrong then. I know what I did wrong. And it's hard to show without drawing a picture. Maybe if I find online a picture of a frustum. So perspective frustum images. There we go. Here's a good picture. So I was like taking the screen coordinate on the far plane, like wherever you click, and projecting a line from the camera to that spot. But that's not correct. I need to actually project from the near plane to the far through the far plane, and that takes the correct angle into account. It won't go through the camera, right? Actually, maybe it's the same, because if I click the corner, if I go from the far corner to the camera, it hits the near plane at the same spot. Well, then what am I doing wrong? I'm casting a ray from maybe the camera world position's just wrong. No, that's the correct position. That's definitely right. 050. It's at the North Pole. Okay, and if I click, it's 600 pixels tall, right? Yeah, so if I click around 300, I should be right on the axis. What if I click dead center? How wide is the window? It's 800, right? So I go to 400 by 300. That should be dead center. I moved the camera by accident. That's a problem. So try to hit dead center again without moving the camera. One more pixel. There. Yeah, see, there's some bias in there somehow. It should be dead center. 050. The point in the world. I'm not printing that out. Maybe I should. Let's print out the world position that I'm clicking on. Or was I? Print the camera? No, but yeah, I wasn't printing the world position. World. I'll figure this out. It'll just take me a quick minute. Hopefully I figure it out before I have to go to work. Okay. Moving that over there. Try to click dead center. A little bit down, a little bit more down. Tiny bit down. There. I clicked dead center. 400 by 300. What does this have to say? Oh, okay, so the camera isn't exactly centered. I wonder how that happened. The world position's a little bit off, maybe because of that. But that's so low. Why am I getting that? Set that to exactly 0. Set that to exactly 90. I can't get that to exactly 0. I tilt it to 45 degrees. And click this corner. 45 degrees in that corner. The world is at that X, Y, and Z. There's something going on. There I hit something at -9. I'm hitting the exact like bottom or the frontmost pixel of the ground in this direction from this camera position. I guess it's showing up here too. This camera position going in this direction hits this point. Is that right? At that time of impact. I need to break out the calculator. So 63.9777734 times 0.58388803 equals 37.35. So that counters the y coordinate of the camera minus 2 because that's where the ground is at -2. Okay. And the other one 77.44363.5838803 equals 45.21. Not right. Oh, yes, it is at -10. -10 minus 35.36. Very close to 0. Okay, so that is right. But I actually didn't click in the right direction. I clicked like way up here. Get it? Okay, what if I try to hit dead center in the screen from a 45-degree angle? What's it going to tell me the so what, 400 by 300? Up. There we go. 0.05, -70, -70. I mean, that seems like it's in the direction immediately away from the camera. But it's hitting the wrong part of the ground. Oh my god, what am I doing wrong? It's like maybe I'm drawing the screen wrong. I'm drawing the screen wrong somehow. So like to actually hit the cube, I have to aim higher. Right there. Closer angle makes it more obvious, right? So I'm hitting the cube around there. Hit, 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 and then I'm missing. It's actually going through the ground. Why would clicking down here go through the ground? So confused. I'm looking at the X direction. X direction is actually correct. So put it maybe at 0. The Y direction is correct. So Y if around 300 would be the middle. Yeah, that's correct. What the heck? -100. Negative 100 Z directions is forward. Hey there, Jolt Jab. I'm good, except for my coordinate systems are all messed up. See, like I'm doing a hit test, right? And if I click around here, I should be hitting the cube, but I'm not. If I just click around, I'll eventually hit it. I hit it if I click up here. It's like the physics engine thinks that the cube is up here, but the display stuff says it's down here. Right? Yeah. See, now I'm hitting I'm hitting. When this shows a XYZ up here for click, that means the physics engine raycast hit something. It hit this guy, but if I click up here, it's like there's some kind of offset problem in the way I'm drawing that is stumping me. If I do it from top down, I've got a similar problem, I think, where if I like, I can just illustrate with the ground, right? If I click, oh, the ground seems to be cool. Like if I click the ground there, I hit the ground, don't hit the ground, hit the ground, hit, miss, hit, miss. I can't click above this line though, because the clicks don't go through the UI. If I click around this object, I'm not hitting it because I'm hitting the ground, which is at -2. I can't actually hit the cube. What if I make some more cubes? Okay, here's another random cube I added, right? Click on it. I'm actually not hitting it. If I click up, up, up. Okay, at what point were I? Oh, there. I hit it when I click down here. So it's like physics engine thinks it's slightly below where it is on the screen. If I narrow the field of view. Yeah, it thinks it's down here, not up here. Yeah, it's like it thinks it's down here. It's a vertical problem. The horizontal looks correct. It's like this pixel should be down here. This pixel should be like down here somewhere. Yeah. There's like a offset somehow. I somehow got an offset in there. The ground, it hits the ground if you see -2. That's where the ground is. The cube is at sitting a little bit above that, right? So I'm hitting the top face of the cube at -0.62. It's like everything is drawing a little bit too high for some reason. I wonder if does this have to do with the screen geometry? What if I make the screen exactly square? Um, where is that? That's not exactly square. Let's make it a little bit more wide. Oh, other way. I'm just trying to click the bottom corner and I should get like near the same coordinates for x and y. So now it's squarish, right? What about now? So no, it's still the same problem. It thinks I should be drawing the cube right here, not right here. So frustrating. I don't think it's the cubes. It's something in my math and how I'm doing the hit test, I think. So there it thinks I'm hitting the ground dead center and the coordinates are at x and y are the same. What's bothering me is these numbers don't show zeros. How do I get them to be exactly 0? Kind of hard, but like, so they give me around there. Yeah, if I click there, I'm hitting the ground. I'm going straight down. So it thinks the camera is above that pixel, but that x and y aren't right anymore. That's not. The camera isn't dead directly above. That is a problem. Widen this to fix that. Exactly at 90, I mean, and 0. Okay, and then wanted it to be little bit narrower. I can actually fix this an easier way. When I make the window, I can make it exactly square. I just have to remember where I did that. Did I do that in WInit? When I made the window? Where did I make the window? Here's where I made it. Oh, I left it a default size. Well, let's give it a width size. With inner size of... How do I give it a size? It wants a size. Physical size. Width 600. Height 600. Yes, please. Thank you. Perhaps this parameter is not passed in the right order, like two values are reverse. It's possible. Maybe I could have got my matrix multiplication backwards, for example, right? Okay, so we got a nice square window. Problem is, hard for me to make the camera exactly 90 degrees. What if I initialize the camera to be 90 degrees up? So where do I do that? In app? Actually, that's in the info overlay. That's the source of truth right here. This look elevation 90. There. Looks like I got a too many lines issue. I'll have to fix that. Okay, so looking straight down. I mean, the ground looks centered. Okay, I'm 1 pixel off of the center. Just slightly up. There. So why is this not 0 minus 100, 0? Why is it off by a little bit? That's maybe the source of it. I mean, this is very close to 0, but why is this not straight down? The straight down, why isn't it straight down? I think that's an indicator of the bug, that if the camera's pointing straight down and I click in the center of the window, the vector should be straight down. Yeah, so there's a bug in my math for computing this world coordinate. Let's find it. First, let's suppress this warning, because I don't like to see crazy yellow squiggles. We'll allow this temporarily, but with a to-do. Fix this. Needs refactoring. Can you draw the vector on the screen so you can visually see what's going wrong? That would take a little bit too long for right now. I actually don't have line drawing in yet. Yeah, so I mean, I've narrowed it down to this world. There's something wrong here, right? Something in my math, maybe. X width, Y height. This is supposed to go from a screen coordinate to world coordinate, and it's supposed to take what the position I clicked on, which is a number from 0 to 600, and Y is the number from 0 to 600. And so multiply by 2, divide by the width, subtract 1. So if it's in the middle, 300, times 2 is 600, divide by width, which is 600, should be 1, minus 1 is 0, right? But it's not getting me 0, it's getting me like 0.05 for some reason. So what if I like print out the raw position, the surface config? Yeah, well, let's just do that. Let's print out all the things. So position is position. And we're also going to print out the width, height. Okay, print out all the things, right? Looking straight down. From the pole, click in the exact center, and what do I get? I need to actually click the exact center, so 300 by 300. There we go. So what did I get? Position 300.47? What? What's the 0.47 coming from? Like rounded or something? It's like a half pixel off. But a half pixel wouldn't be that much off. What if I click way down here in the corner? Yeah, it's like thinking it should give me a half pixel off. Oh wait, there's a border. Yeah, right, clicking right on the border. Right there, 0 to 30. Right, yeah, I can't get for closer than 599. But if I'm not on the edge, it's adding like some fractional. Would the fraction really matter that much though? I'm gonna guess the fraction doesn't matter. Then maybe that 0.05, maybe it's okay because that's just what happens when I can't click the exact center because it's adding a half pixel. It's adding a half pixel to the right and down, which would be, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, sure. And I'm hitting. This is the point on the far plane, so 100 pixels away. This is the direction. Wait, that's not right. Hold on. That might be a clue. This is the point um, that I projected on the far plane, and this is the direction. This is that minus the camera position. This is that minus this. Oh, wait. Is that why? No, that's right. I think. Gosh, this is so frustrating. I'm doing something wrong. uh, got like 15 minutes before I gotta wrap things up and then go to work. It would help if I put the cube in the center and close to the center too, wouldn't it? I can just click until one ends up near the center. Hey, there we go. I didn't land in the center. Too many cubes, I'm not going to be sure what I'm actually clicking on. That's the problem. Hit something. Didn't hit the ground. I'm hitting something here I shouldn't. Oh, and I moved the camera. Dang it. When I'm looking at things edge on, where the camera is at 0, the cubes are slightly below me, but I should hit it if I click there. Am I not hitting anything? The camera's at that position. Let's go back to 0 there. See, now I'm not hitting anything. Whoops, look, we're completely outside. I should be hitting something, not hitting anything. Please hit something. There, I'm finally hitting something. Why is it when I tilt the camera enough, I'm not hitting anything no matter where I click? So yeah, if I go below 10 degrees, I can't seem to hit anything. Oh, because it thinks it's way up here, not down here. Is that a hint? Do I have the oh, I know what I did. I have the screen flipped. When I click down here, the Y shouldn't be 500. It should be close to 0 down here. It's the Y coordinate is flipped on the screen. That's what it is. Okay, so that's easy to fix. All I really need to do is take this position and invert it. Where do I do that? Like way up here? This position, I can just invert it here. Let position equal, well, how many times do I use position? If I only use position Y in one spot, I can just invert it here. So actually, it actually has to have to do this more subtly. I would multiply by -2, right? Dividing by the height gives me a number from 0 to 1. I need to invert that. So 0 becomes a 1 and 1 becomes a 0. So wouldn't it be easier to just divide by that? Do 1 minus and then multiply by 2. So this is a number from 0 to 1. 1 minus that is a number from 1 down to 0. Times 2 minus 1 gives me the -1 to +1. Okay, I think I fixed it. The problem is the screen goes, screen coordinates go from the top to bottom, but in the graphics world, it's from the bottom up. So now this should all be good, right? Click there, I hit a cube. Click there, I hit the ground. Yeah, I fixed it. It's all fixed. Hey there, Eternal Divine Fox. I just fixed a bug in my hit testing. So the coordinate system is for the y-axis up down is reversed between the screen and the physics engine, and it took me a long minute to figure that out. So now that I get it figured out, when I click outside of the arena here, I don't get any a click world position. If I click here in the green, I get a position at -2, which is where I set the ground. If I click on the cube, I get another position above that, which means I hit a cube. Figured it out before I had to leave. I know that's not the best feelings when you figure it out. So I think what I want to do now is have it so like we have a cube selected. I think what I want to do is like have when I hit it, I actually select it. And if I click nothing, I'll deselect it. So that should be really easy to do. I just have the handle. I'm just not doing anything with it. Where's the handle? Well, I don't need these infos anymore. We figured out the bug. All these infos can go. Right? Well, that can go. Delete the camera info. All right. I have the handle here. So what do I want to do with it? I want to keep it and do something with it. Let's do handle.world. So this is handle dot a comma that, and then we still have the handle, and now we have a hit point. So we're just gonna handle. We're just converting the coordinates, but in the end we still get a handle out back out, right? Option vector. Why does it have? Right, because in the end this wants a world coordinate. No, it doesn't. What did I do wrong here? Tuple. Why is this? Why is it not like a tuple being here? Expected an option. An option. Oh, if let, right? I guess we'll just keep this like baby handle world. Right. I'm trying to do two things at once, right? I have the handle and then the position, and I want to put the position there. So I kind of want to turn it into two options, right? So we'll do and then. And then not the right thing. I don't want it to return an option. Then I forget. I have to look it up. Cheats. You're learning to program in 3D, writing some matrices code? Oh, great. So am I. Sort of. Well, I'm using that sort of thing. If I start with an option and I want to get the thing out, is it not on wrap or... I do want to map though, right? No, I don't want to map. I want an okay. I think I'm thinking about this wrong. The whole thing is, it could be none, or the whole thing could be something. So this is the wrong type. I want to turn an option tuple into a tuple of options. That's what I want. I want to turn an optional tuple into a tuple of options. How do I do that? I think I'll just have this be like result, and it'll tell me the type is an optional tuple, and then I'll just say let that equal, and then we'll just unwrap it twice or something. So result dot and then handle, well, comma, don't care, well, world with underscore in front of it, and just say handle, comma, and then swap these two. There's probably an easier way to do this, and I'm sure someone in chat is about to tell me what it is. I need to make a two, right? I need to put open parentheses there and close parentheses there. Is it map? Map. There we go. So I turn an option tuple into a tuple of options. You can do option unzip. Exactly. So I knew someone in chat would tell me how to do that. So you're saying instead of doing that, I can unzip it. There we go. That's exactly what I want. So then I can just move that. Thank you very much, Jepfo. You're amazing. I can just say that equals that dot unzip. Do away with this stuff. Cool. Now, with the handle, I can just assign that to cube. No, not info overlay. I believe that is a spam call. Sorry for that interruption. So, is it first cube? It wants a U. What is the model instance handle? Oh, shoot. That's not an option, is it? If I made it an option, it would work better. Yeah, I should make this option. And it shouldn't be called first cube. It should be called like selected cube. Selected cube. And then we'll make it an option. There we go. Then I can just say that selected cube equals the handle. Is that your time to go to work alarm? No, that was a spammer. I'm guessing. So yeah, this would be some first cube. Okay, and down here. Oh, I just didn't finish this, right? This should be handle. Oh, right. I have to go from the collider and find out which one it is. So I had a way to do that. Where was it? When we did destroy, what's it called? Destroy lost model instances. From the collider, we go to the parent, and from the collider, we just go to the user data. There we go. So it's the user data as usize gets me the handle. So it's handle. Well, that's a collider handle though, right? I need to get the collider from the collider handle. So that would be handle.map handle self.physicsworld.colliders.get handle. And then it may or may not exist, so I need to do another map. Collider to paste. Collider user data as usize. Not that that wouldn't be an option. Why does it say option? Is it and then? This, no, it's the other way around. This is and then. Then map it to, there we go. Cool. And then a few more things to wrap up here. If model instance get selected cube is none, use new. All right, so I think I can do away with this. This is like saying if if there wasn't a selected cube and then we add a new one, automatically select it. I don't think we need that because we're gonna use clicking now to handle that. And then get cube body. So this, I think I would say self.selectedCube.map handle get mute handle. No, model instances get handle. Oh, I can use the question mark to shortcut this. So scratch that. Then I wouldn't use map. I would just use self. Yeah, undo that. I would put a question mark here too. Question mark's kind of a cool operator. It basically says if you're in a function or other context that returns an option, if you get a none and at the point where you have the question mark, just return none. Otherwise, you continue with the thing that's inside of the option. So it's like an unwrap and an early return all wrapped together in a single character. It's lovely. Okay, about that time to stop streaming. I don't need this handle anymore, right? We're just creating it. We got some warnings. Let's clean up the warnings. Truncate, yeah, we're allowing truncation here. That's on purpose. We're allowing it. One more warning. Consider adding. There, done. All right, no warnings, no errors. Well, that was a refreshing challenge. Oh, I should fix some. I don't know. I no longer need the camera to be pointing straight down, and I don't need the window to be square. So I'm going to remove the squaring of the window, leave it at the default, and then the camera angle was in the info overlay, right? I initialized it to 9. Oh, it was just there, right there. Ah, that's funny. Won't let me. It's if I click out, it was moving me away. Okay. Oh, and I have another warning. Fix it. Must fix warnings. Sorry, must fix warnings. So tomorrow I need to do some refactoring because I put in a lot of ugly code to make this work. You know, maybe 0 is not the best default. Maybe like 20 would be a nicer default. And maybe zoomed in the field of view 20 would be, or 25 would be better to start with. Okay, so if I click out, no cube is selected. I click the cube, it selects that cube, and I can kick it. So if I add a bunch more cubes, right? Now I can click one and have it click. Click a different one and kick it. Oh, that's neat. So I click this little guy, kick it. Woo! I don't know if you saw that because it's kind of small. But yeah, if I kick a small cube, it seems like it gets more momentum. Click the one in the corner. Yeah, it's heavier. Takes more kicks to takes more force to get it to move. Just gonna watch. Yeah. So when the selected cube goes away, its position gets removed. All right. So cool. One thing I don't have time for that would have been cool is if the selected cube is drawn to draw it differently, like a different set of colors. I don't have texture drawing yet, and I don't have a way to show a boundary around it. That would be some shader work, right? So I don't have that yet, but maybe maybe I would show it in a different color if it's selected. I need to do something like that because it's hard to see what is selected right now. You have to actually kick it to see. Yes, that's the one I have selected, right? Boom. Off the edge you go. Cube explosion. Awesome. Okay, I think I have just enough time to commit my changes. So what did I add? Add ability to select cubes by clicking on them. Oh, I just thought of a bug I probably have in there. Oh, and I just completely closed the window by hitting Command Q. So it's a good thing I didn't lose the commit edit message, but I did lose the shell context, so I had to do git commit again on the main branch. Oh, did it do the commit? Oh, well, that's convenient. It did the commit when I closed the VS Code. Let's send it out of the virtual machine. All right. This is going to be an interesting bug. In that, what if I click the ground? The ground is not a cube, right? If I click the ground, it's not actually a cube we're looking at. We're actually have the ground selected. And what if I kick the ground? Oh, interesting. If I click the ground, it selects the cube. It actually shouldn't do that. Clicking the ground should... Why would clicking the ground select a cube? Why is that happening? Like, I expected that to crash or something. I guess it depends on how exactly we handle a click, the handle that we get back. Oh, that's right. The handles... No, the handle should be... The handle for the ground should be unique. Should be separate from the cube handle. Unless I screwed that up. I might have screwed it up. Let me look. Where am I looking? Looking at app. Handle message. Right. So, raycast. We get a handle. What do we do with the handle? We get the collider. So we might get the ground collider when that happens. Oh, that's right. We never set the user data on the ground collider. So it's going to be 0. And 0 happens to be the first handle that gets vended out when we create a cube, which I could fix if I just initialized it correctly. So let's make 0 default to like a meaningless handle by going to models right here, I think, where I have the vending of handles, instance handle vendor, and right, rather than deriving default, let's actually make a new here. Self autofill, and then we'll have it start at 1, and then we'll just do new instead of default. Now when I run it, it'll try to look up the well, it'll select an invalid handle is what it'll do. What is that going to do? Yeah, so it's not going to do anything because we have checks in there for like invalid handles. So it's doing the right thing. Think I may copy your steps in learning wgpu? That's cool. Here's where I started. Where is it? Here's where I started with wgpu. I followed that tutorial. Learn both Rust and GPU at the same time. 2 things that surprisingly hard time at being motivated to learn. If you're motivated by a challenge and you don't know Rust or wgpu, this is certainly a challenge. I personally would start with just Rust. Then when I got comfortable enough, then I'd do wgpu. But if you really want a challenge, try to do both at the same time. Let me know how it goes. All right. Cool. So it's not really a bug that we can click the ground and try. It'll try to select that collider, but kick doesn't work because it has no rigid body. That's what it'll get down to try to find the rigid body, and it won't find one, right? And it'll just skip it. Let's add that change. So yeah, this change is to do not send a 0 value instance handle. Okay, back up the virtual machine. All right. Oh, Rust Analyzer has an update? Might as well update it, because does that mean that Rust itself updated? I do rust update. Yeah, it looks like the nightly build changed, which makes sense because it's nightly. Yeah, I know, Mono, I did. How hard could it be? Well, you probably know other languages, so maybe it's easier that way. All right. I will, as I look for someone to raid, I will leave you with Cube Explosion. That's what I've been doing the last few streams, right? Just hitting the add button to buy me some time. Ooh, Soding is working on FFmpeg, or FFmpeg and raylib. And I got a 30-second ad, so hold on a sec. You know what I've noticed? Sometimes I get the ad twice. And I think it's because when the raid happens, I get another ad because of joining the channel from another window. So it doesn't really matter if I wait out the ad. Why don't I just start the raid? Hope you guys enjoy watching Soding. He's always interesting. Looks like he's working on FFmpeg today. So we'll see how that goes. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.